I'm Spanish and I have two native languages, Spanish and Portuguese. Okay, English, I like very much English, but it's not so perfect that we want. Dear members, it is indeed an honor and a great pleasure for me to welcome you to our ASHRAE CCTC training. I hope this will be an occasion for us all to have an opportunity to exchange experience and knowledge and learning more about the key topics of TT transfer technology that we are all looking forward. This is the true goal of this workshop. I feel certainly that we'll have a good session and I am looking forward to an interesting debate. Now, I would like to invite to each one of you to say some words introducing yourselves to get to know one another. So, I introduce myself. I'm Serafim Granja. I come from Portugal and I'm an EAP engineer and basically HVAC engineer. I work since during 45 years. I'm 70 years old and I hope to continue to support the ASHRAE team. Thank you. You get very old.
Sure. Well, I'll take a turn. My name is Jeff Littleton. I'm your staff executive vice president, right? So it's my great privilege to serve you and work for you at ASHRAE headquarters, and my responsibility is to make sure we have a strong and empowered staff team to support you and our other volunteer leaders. So that's what I do. I've been at ASHRAE for 13 years, 14 years, coming up on 14 years. And before I came to ASHRAE, I ran another engineering society called NACE International, the National Association of Corrosion Engineers. It was a little bit smaller organization, and I was at NACE for 10 years. So thank you again for all that you do as volunteer leaders of this great society. Thank you.
My name is Andres Sepulveda. I'm the president of the Spain chapter.
Just press the speaker.
My name is Andres Sepulveda. I'm the president of the Spain chapter. How we plan the things in our chapter is normally the president passed to the position of CTTC chair, but it will not depend on me. It will be depend on the new president coming in. And it's an honor to be here in this training session.
But we are well represented.
Good morning, my name is Harald Köppen. I'm working for the United Nations Environment Program, Ozone Action Program. What we're doing is to work and protect the ozone layer, and by doing that we're working with developing countries. So I'm a coordinator for Europe and Central Asia, some group of 20 countries. And in order to protect ozone layer, we work very closely with refrigeration sector and refrigeration associations in these developing countries. And that's where my interest is, to know more what ASHRAE is doing. And our organization is very close cooperation with ASHRAE already by developing training materials. So we know very well ASHRAE, but at the regional level, we have so far not very well established cooperation. We're looking forward to do that.
Good morning, my name is Vladimir Yankovic and I'm representing ASHRAE UK Midlands chapter. I'm chair of the Local Transfer Committee, and it's a paid job. I'm a professor of zero carbon design at Birmingham City University, and I've been working on ecological buildings for a very long time.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Bratislav Blagojevic from Serbia, from Danube chapter. The position National CTTC Chair, Vice President of Serbian Society for HVAC, and I'm working on the University of Niš in the south part of Serbia.
Good morning, my name is Nenad Miloradovic. I'm from Danube chapter, just a member, and I'm working in the Belgradske Elektrane. It is a district heating company here in Belgrade, and also I was in organization committee for KGH conference.
I am Kostas Zeniu. I'm from the Cyprus chapter. I have the CCTC chair. And professionally, I'm a mechanical engineer.
Micro, please, and disconnect you.
Professionally, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I have a factory that makes HVAC accessories, ducting, and also ventilation equipment.
Good morning. I'm from Portugal. I have the CTCC chair. I'm a contractor for 40 years. I work together with Serafin at our National Engineering Association.
Okay. It's not completed yet, but I hope to complete as soon as possible. I'm trying to show all the recommendations of the society. I think it's very important, and don't run very well. A Chinese phrase. This represents the way to communicate today. So this is the best way to communicate today. This is the digital transformation since 1994. And this represents well this transformation. I like to show this. I think it's very important to show it evidently, but I'm interested to show it. And we simply cannot resist this challenge. And it's for that reason I choose many videos of the society document. It's a very good videos, and you can pass to the other members in your chapter these communications. available sound. Yes. The sound is not so good.
Something people should know about being an
this is the Ashrei wall. No?
Yes.
And for me, I'm suspected to say this, but for me, the CCT share in each chapter are the really soul of the chapter. It's very important that you communicate to all the members. It's my opinion. I am suspect because I was already CCT chef. Now in Portugal is Carlos, it's a good fellow and a good friend, and I hope to establish a good friendship with you. I learned that generally we are the mean of the 10 best friends than we have. And I think you can communicate well along these 3 years.
I like you much.
Sharing, collaborating, and growing.
My mission was clear. The standards written with mine, they weren't just standards. They were the standard, and they still are.
As times changed and technologies evolved, I've evolved, always staying one step ahead of what's next with advances in HVAC&R.
Then boom, the energy crisis in the 70s. Suddenly, energy, sustainability, and building design were a big buzzword.
No worries, I'm always evolving. I wrote 90.1. The standard's still being used today. I became the go-to source for governments looking for expertise, and I stepped up a number of future-facing research initiatives. I grew, reacted, and became even more of a voice.
Now, I'm growing again. With more than 50,000 members worldwide, my commitment to HVAC&R never falters.
Yet new challenges and new evolutions into all facets of building design and operation.
Today on sustainability,
With 189.1, the Green Building Standard for those who strive to build, design, and operate green buildings.
I am smart.
With the National Smart Grid effort creating a smart electrical grid for homes, buildings, and industrial facilities.
I am a teacher.
With new advanced energy design guides. In my handbooks that I continually update as I have since I was small. They're not just guides. They are the accumulated wisdom of thousands.
I'm worldly.
Members around the globe seek my help with emerging issues such as food supply preservation and alternative energy.
I'm the future, whatever it may be. Standards for residential indoor air quality, highly efficient homes, air quality standards that affect all areas of our lives.
I'm ready for it because I am not just a society. I am 52,000 members strong.
I am Ashrei.
I am Ashtray.
I am Ashrei.
I am Ashtray.
I am Ashrei.
I am Ashrei, shaping tomorrow's built environment today.
Go team.
It's a human issue.
ASHRAE is doing a great job in challenging their members to be sustainable.
Being a member of ASHRAE is being connected to a community of people who care about the built environment.
Sustainability is in my heart.
Well, ASHRAE can contribute significantly to limiting the global warming, but they cannot do it alone.
ASHRAE's firm commitment to furthering energy efficiency guidance in achieving net zero energy buildings makes a possibility a reality.
ASHRAE empowers the sustainable community.
ASHRAE takes the leadership role in promoting green building, saving energies, not just nationally but also internationally. I'm proud that we're taking that very seriously and that we're trying to find various ways to find solutions, and that we're putting all our efforts and most of our ethical committees at keeping always that in their mind.
The revolution has started. We, as engineers, can join forces through OSPA to make things happen.
We are on the middle of a real challenge. ASHRAE is a very, very important challenge. It's a very important challenge today. And is that for that reason I can show you these three videos. I think it's important to know that. Okay, I invite you a small coffee to start after introducing the CCTC. Okay, if you can go.
Yeah. Is there coffee over here? Yeah, use coffee. Yes. No, that's fine. That worked out okay. Instant coffee, okay. Yes. Oh, it's a, okay. Okay. We do that really quickly. Staff can find the drama. In fact, we can do a literature search. Find. Yes.
ASHRAE's Chapter Technology Transfer Committee, establishing connections to keep plugged in and on the cutting edge.
Yes, I don't. This is my contact. This is the workshop agenda, this presentation. This is ASHRAE mission. You know already these items. This is our position in the organigram. This is important because we have the HVAC and refrigeration. Probably all the chapters have these two items, HVAC and refrigeration. The tendency is to have together. There are an important guideline in ASHRAE. 3 items, it's no religion, no politics, no mercantilism. These guidelines is very important for all of us. This is the calendar of our main activities in the society. We have all the information in the website of ASHRAE. It's a very good website, and we have all the information there. and you can study and diversify all the communication. No politics, no religion, no commercialism, no trade also. Thank you. All the DL visits must be prepared. It depends of each chapter. The way to prepare the visits is not equal in all chapters. Each chapter has each way to prepare the visit and the way to communicate with the members. This is very important for the society. It's the program evaluation of each day when we visit the chapter. And we are obliged to send this evaluation to the society. We can choose the DL in this site. These are additional programs. There are different programs it depends on what you want to communicate and to explain in the chapter. This is our world. It's very diversified commission. Yeah. I think it is very important because we must communicate all the chapters. We can communicate, for example, Serbia with the United Kingdom, with Spain, with Portugal. We need this intercommunication. It's very important to communicate. This is to prepare the future. each chapter visit for the society. It's important. This year we have 6 visits allocated. I think United Kingdom admit 2 this year. 2 their visit is more. Can inform me that you are in contact with Waisan to visit Ireland, the 3 chapters you have in United Kingdom. Probably we have not 6 but 8 visits is allocated in this moment. But we can achieve the 10 visits in your region. It's our goal.
Yeah, well, we arranged one DL for 16th of May, and then we got some communication about another visit, but that hasn't been confirmed with our chapter yet because it is too close to our meeting in May. So we need to see. I need to ask.
We can check this in the PowerPoint and the final PowerPoint to see exactly the visit is located here. Okay. Already. This is important because the society pays practically the transportation, but the local meals, hotel and local transportation begins to the chapter. It's important to consider this. This is the critic summary. All the DL are under examination. There are many webcasts during the year, and generally I visit that, I attend them, and it's very, very special, but we can learn more about our profession. The problem is not forget the refrigeration. Sometimes you forget this. This is important for our profession development. There are many ASHRAE certifications also with the 3 waypoints. This is the certification programs available now. Get more information, all the information. lines.
Welcome to the Distinguished Lecturer in Training, or CTTC Chairs. First, we'd like to thank you for your service as a chapter CTTC Chair. If this is your first year or second decade, you are a critical part of providing current and relevant HVAC and R information. Welcome to the Distinguished Lecturer in Training, for CTTC Chairs. First, we'd like to thank you for your service as a chapter CTTC Chair. If this is your first year or second decade, you are a critical part of providing current and relevant HVAC and R information to and from the chapters. As you listen, we encourage you to write down any questions or comments you may have and schedule a call with your CTTC Regional Vice Chair or RVC to discuss. Any feedback received will help to improve future training materials and will facilitate stronger communication between CTTC participants. The ASHRAE Distinguished Lecturer, or DL program, has been in place for nearly 20 years. Its purpose is to provide chapters with respected lecturers that may not typically be available in chapters' immediate vicinity. These DLs may speak on relevant subjects of interest without incurring large costs to the chapter. Many lecturers have agreed to speak as a volunteer of ASHRAE. Society has agreed to take care of the transportation costs associated with lecturers' travel. CTTC oversees and supervises the program, annually updating the approved list of distinguished lecturers and topics, and regularly reviewing the evaluations and feedback received. Our training today will cover the potential benefits to your chapter that come from using the DL program, how to schedule a DL, and what additional resources are available. In many locations throughout the world, ASHRAE members and their guests gather on a regular basis, often monthly, for training, seminars, workshops, technical sessions, networking, fellowship, and fun. Regular chapter meetings facilitate the sharing of technical knowledge, experiences, and discoveries. The DL program allows chapters to plug into the resources of the whole society and share in the knowledge developed across regions, countries, and the world. The ASHRAE DL program is diverse. Over 70 lecturers have been pre-selected to speak on over 300 topics. Lecturers have a wide range of backgrounds and represent 13 countries in 10 different languages. This diversity ensures that the program is truly available to chapters in every corner of the world and brings the knowledge of the society to each attendee. Many of the approved topics cover emerging concepts and recent industry research. Each year, lecturers are invited to submit new topics, ensuring the list is relevant and up-to-date. DLs are skilled presenters and have proven experience in their fields and the society. Hosting an ASHRAE DL is a great way to boost a chapter's attendance, especially when paired with a strong follow-up. DL visits also provide an opportunity to reach out beyond ASHRAE and involve other organizations. Many topics are relevant across multiple disciplines and organizations, and give a local ASHRAE chapter the ability to lead industry-wide educational opportunities in their area. Many DL topics and lecturers have qualified to provide continuing education credits, helping attendees to fulfill requirements in multiple licensing and certifying organizations. Neighboring chapters can strengthen relationships as they work together to co-host DL visits. Co-hosting provides chapters the ability to have more DL visits in a single year, since each chapter may host. CTTC has worked hard to simplify the procedure for scheduling a distinguished lecturer visit. All relevant information is available on the ASHRAE CTTC website. The first step to hosting a DL is to contact your RVC for CTTC. Meet the CTTC RVC at your chapter regional conference, or CRC. RVCs host training for incoming and continuing chapter chairs, and your RVC will host the one that you attend. If you have not met your CTTC RVC, contact your chapter president, who will have contact information for all regional officers. During your year as chapter CTTC chair, you should plan to regularly communicate with your CTTC RDC. The Society allocates DL visits to each region on an annual basis, starting July 1st. The regional CTTC chairs then determine how these visits may be shared amongst chapters in your region. The RDC will know how many allocations were made, how many have been utilized, and if any are still available. Next, go online to the DL webpage, where a list of topics and contact information is provided. Here you will find information on every approved DL for this society year. DLs are constantly changing, so don't assume a past presenter is still available. Each year a handful of DLs may retire from the program, and new DLs volunteer. DLs are also responsible for updating their topics, so check the website regularly. Next, contact the DL directly to request they present to your chapter. If a DL has multiple topics, specify which topic you would like them to lecture on. Be sure to contact the DL several months ahead, so there is adequate time to make travel arrangements. In addition, provide several potential meeting dates for the DL, so they can select a time that works best for everyone. Once you have worked out the visit date with the DL, it's time to obtain written confirmation. Got your written confirmation? You are now ready to fill out the participation form, which identifies specific information needed for the chapter, RDC, and society program staff to ensure that a DL visit is set up properly. Sections at the top of the form identify the name of the lecturer, host chapter, selected DL topic or presentation, and the lecture date and visit date. The visit date is provided to show anticipated travel time that may be needed to arrive and depart from the host city. For example, if a DL is presenting at an evening lecture, then they may not be able to depart until the next day. If you have made arrangements to host a DL and share the visit with nearby chapters, then be sure to check the multi-chapter visit box. You can then identify the other chapter or chapters in item 9. Ensure the date of visit encompasses the entire trip, including any co-sponsoring chapters' lectures. In addition, if you invite other industry organizations to attend the lecture, please list those in item 9 as well. Per the ASHRAE DL transportation policy, the Society has agreed to provide transportation costs from the DL's home location to the host chapter city. ASHRAE does not provide reimbursement for local costs, such as hotel, meals, or local transportation. The host chapter agrees to cover or make arrangements for these expenses on behalf of the DL, whether paying them directly, reimbursing them, or some combination.
Sorry, this is essential for the society. Don't forget this.
Host chapters should ensure that they have discussed these expenses with the DL as they confirm the visit. Be ready to promptly reimburse the lecturer. This information should be entered on the form in item 6. Complete and sign the form and submit it to your regional CTTC RDC. Your RDC will approve the form and submit it to chapter programs for final confirmation. Headquarters will send confirmation to the DL, RDC, and chapter. Headquarters will send confirmation to the DL, RDC, chapter CTTC chair, as stated at the bottom of the form. Chapter program staff typically provides confirmation within 3 days of receiving a fully completed and approved form from the RDC. DL visits are a special event for ASHRAE chapters. Upon confirmation, ASHRAE staff will send you several items, including the lecturer's bio and headshot. Utilize these materials by promoting the lecture in chapter newsletters and meeting announcements. On the day of the lecture, ensure that arrangements are made to meet the DL. Be sure to coordinate local transportation to the meeting, hotel, and any other venues they may visit. If there is extra time in the host city, you may make arrangements for the DL to meet with your chapter leadership, local industry leaders, or local government leaders. Ensure that there is ample time to attend these meetings, travel, and allow for some rest for the DL as well. At the event, ensure that computers, projectors, screens, and and other needs are provided and set up as needed. Introduce chapter officers. Be sure to welcome the DL. Make arrangements to introduce the DL during the meeting. Pass out the lecture evaluation form to all attendees and collect them at the end of the meeting. You will use these evaluations to complete the event summary critique form. This information provides valuable feedback and is used to make decisions about the program for future years. Complete the event summary critique form and submit the form to headquarters staff at the email provided on the form. Following the meeting, ensure the DL is comfortable, has overnight lodging if needed, and that they safely return to the host city departure point. Be prompt in responding to the DL's request for reimbursement that you worked out prior to the visit. A critical deadline in the DL program is November 30th of each year. While CTTC RVCs may...
It is important to respect this date. Evidently, this year it's a special year for us. We start recently the region, and if you have some interesting to allocate other visits, we can achieve near the society to confirm other visits. It's possible. We have allocated 10, the possibility to allocate 10, but in certain cases we can allocate more than 10. It depends on the society and the budget of the society.
Set earlier deadlines for allocated visits. All chapters and regions must submit the DL participation form and have it confirmed by ASHRAE staff prior to November 30th. Following this deadline, all remaining allocated visits that have not been confirmed by headquarters will be placed in a common pool. Every chapter in ASHRAE has equal opportunity to apply for allocated DL visits from this pool. These visits will have the same benefit, where ASHRAE Society will reimburse transportation. The key difference is that you may bypass RVC approval for common pool visits, and chapter CTTC chairs may submit the completed participation form directly to ASHRAE headquarters staff to request and confirm a visit. Typically, chapters that use common pool visits have made arrangements ahead of time and are looking to have additional visits to their chapter beyond those allocated through the regions. Over the past several years, all the common pool visits have been allocated on the first business day following November 30th. Preparation is key. Chapters may continue to use ASHRAE DLs throughout the year, and not only through the allocation and reimbursed visits. Chapters can schedule a DL directly for their chapter meeting at any time if they agree to pick up all reimbursement costs, including transportation to their chapter city. These are referred to as non-allocated visits. There is no limit to the number of non-allocated visits that chapters can schedule. RVCs and ASHRAE staff still request the participation form be filled out to confirm the arrangements of the visit and to have a record of DL usage over time. Chapters should also submit the event summary critique form for non-allocated visits so that DLs and the CTTC committee may continue to monitor the effectiveness of the program. This slide provides additional resources and information. Including the 2 web pages at ashrae.org that will be most useful to you during your year as Chapter CTTC Chair. The listed email address.
Sorry, I must explain because when our region was created, this in June, it's approved in June, and the budget of the society is defined already this time. We were placed before this year in the region at large, as you know, and region at large has allocated 20 DLs, and this for that reason after June, the society decides to divide the 20 day hours, 10 for region at large and 10 for region 14. For the next year, I don't know exactly in this moment how many we have. Probably 20, I don't know. Or the society maintains 10.
You can use to contact ASHRAE staff associated with the DL program at any time, and staff can answer any questions you may have. Your most valuable resource will be your regional vice chair. Be sure to establish a strong communication channel with your RVC throughout the year to ensure a successful year as Chapter CTTC Chair. ASHRAE's DL program has provided many benefits over the years, and your continued usage will ensure it continues to benefit individuals, chapters, and ASHRAE Society for years to come.
Way to sometimes these videos and PowerPoints repeat some concepts, but it's some difference between them. We have seen already these items. Sorry. These small letters and difficulties. In case we have not allocated or non-allocated it, we can demand the society. And this is the way to allocate. We can select a DM from the database. First time we must contact the DL for their availability. Confirm with the DL what your chapter will reimburse. Send participation. Sorry. Send the participation form to RVC and headquarters of the society and receive the confirmation from the society. Evidently, we cannot arrange with the DL without confirmation of the society. And this, it's very important to discuss with the DL the airfare, the hotel, food, taxi, and so on. I think it's difficult for each chapter to allocate more than 2 visits a year. I think it's difficult for the chapter. And to prepare well the visits, it's an effort for the chapter.
Welcome, CTTC chairs. Thank you for joining us for this brief explanation of awards programs administered by the CTTC and the Refrigeration Committee. CTTC and Refrigeration Awards recognize outstanding achievements in design in a variety of HVAC&R applications and chapter activities. These awards also serve to communicate innovative ideas to members and improve chapter-level technical activities. This furthers ASHRAE's overall mission to advance the arts and sciences of HVAC&R and create a more sustainable world. There are 6 awards. 3 of the 6 awards recognize outstanding performance in chapter activities. The Chapter Program Star Award and the Dan Mills Technical Award both recognize CTTC chairs, while the Donald A. Siller Refrigeration Award recognizes an outstanding chapter refrigeration chair. The Technology Awards, Milton W. Garland Award, and the Refrigeration Comfort Cooling Awards recognize outstanding achievement in the area of mechanical systems and building design. The Chapter Program Star Award recognizes monthly chapter meetings as a cornerstone of ASHRAE's vitality and philosophy. The Chapter Program Star Award is judged on the following criteria. 1. Planning for successful chapter programs. 2. Increasing attendance at chapter meetings. 3. Promoting special chapter programs. The deadline for the regional competition is determined by your RVC. An RVC may decide to award a chapter chair if there is no nomination by members. Details on the requirements of this award can be found online. The Society entry deadline for this award is September 30th. It is presented during the plenary session at the ASHRAE annual meeting. The Technology Awards are one of CTTC's most successful programs. The key to a strong chapter-level competition is early communication. Talk about the Technology Awards at your chapter meetings and publish articles in your monthly newsletter. Host a chapter awards night. Present the winning design team and the building owner with their award at a chapter meeting. ASHRAE Technology Awards serve to recognize members at the local level while promoting innovative design as a society concept. Chapter chairs set the chapter competition deadline. Ensure that this deadline is communicated with plenty of advance notice, providing ample time for winners to prepare regional submissions. RVCs set the deadline for the regional competition. This date is important when determining the deadline for chapter-level competition. Members will need time to review their chapter-level submissions prior to submitting to the region. CTTC recommends allowing at least a month between chapter and regional competition deadlines. Society deadline is September 1st. Successful candidates will be presented with their awards at the winter meeting. There are 6 subcategories within Technology Awards. Each of these subcategories will have their own subcategories of new, existing, and recently added retro commissioning fields. What's the difference between existing and retro commissioning projects? Retro commissioning projects include scopes where the existing systems are upgraded with their primary focus on controls-related measures. Entrants should check the retro commissioning box on their application if the scope of the project did not include significant upgrades of the existing systems. At the chapter level, members are also recognized for outstanding design and innovation for effective energy utilization. CTTC recommends presenting award winners with a plaque or certificate during chapter meetings and publishing details of the winning project in local newsletters. Don't underestimate the importance of recognizing members and local industry participants. The local chapter, along with the CTTC chair, determine the format and judging at the local level. Chapter-level applicants must complete the short form. Regional-level applicants are encouraged to submit the long form. However, this may or may not be required by the RVC. The RVC determines the format in judging at the regional level. RVCs provide the deadline for the regional competition. This regional deadline is important when determining the deadline for the chapter-level competition. Members will need time to review their chapter level submissions prior to submitting to the region. CTTC recommends allowing at least a month between chapter and regional competition deadlines. Submitting an awards application early gives the RVC an opportunity to provide guidance for the society level submission. The requirements are posted on the Technology Awards webpage. Along with a society level application, the RVC must certify that all requirements listed in the RVC transmittal form have been met. Any applications not meeting these requirements will not be accepted. Requirements must be met, or a project will not be considered. Every technology award submission must meet several clearly defined requirements. These requirements are outlined in detail on the website. Applicants should familiarize themselves with these criteria when preparing a submission. The judges will be assigning points to the following categories: energy efficiency, indoor air quality, innovation, operation and maintenance, cost effectiveness, environmental impact, quality of presentation, and judges' prerogative. The maximum for each category is 15 points, except the category of judges' prerogative, which is 5. Many entrants falsely believe this is an energy efficiency award. Applicants who do not address each category have little chance of winning. Recipients are honored at the ASHRAE Winter Meetings plenary session. First place awards and the Engineering Award of Excellence are presented there by the current ASHRAE Society President. Plaques are awarded to an entrant representing the design team and to the building owner. The purpose of the Dan Mills Technical Award is to stimulate effective participation by the ASHRAE Chapter CTTC in connection with activities related to the mission of the Society. The Dan Mills Technical Award is endowed in the memory of Dan Mills of the Memphis Chapter. This award honors the Chapter CTTC Chair or Vice Chair with the most outstanding year who meets the eligibility requirements. Please see the ASHRAE Society website for more details. Your CTTC RVC sets the regional competition deadline. Society's entry deadline is September 30th. The award is presented at the ASHRAE annual meeting. The Milton W. Garland Commemorative Refrigeration Award for Project Excellence recognizes innovation. The award is presented to both the designer and the owner of a non-comfort cooling refrigeration application that incorporates new technology in a unique manner. The winner is selected by the Refrigeration Committee. Garland was known as Mr. Refrigeration for his work in these systems. His first job was for a refrigeration company in 1920, where he earned 41 cents per hour. From gold mines in South Africa to ice cream factories in Philadelphia, Mr. Garland earned 41 patents over an 8-decade career. He made the artificial production of rubber more feasible during the Second World War, and his work on water systems aided in the construction of the Hoover Dam. These awards are open to all who think their projects or other projects with which they are familiar have achieved some distinction. The deadline for submissions is May 1st. Awards are presented at the ASHRAE Winter Conference. Complete details on this award are available online. The Comfort Cooling Award for Project Excellence highlights comfort cooling excellence. The award applies to any commercial or industrial project utilizing refrigeration equipment in a comfort cooling application. The award shall be made to both the designer and the owner of a comfort cooling application, which highlights innovation or new technologies. Submit candidates to the Refrigeration Staff Liaison. The deadline for submission is May 1st. Awards are presented at the ASHRAE Winter Conference. Complete details on this award are available online. For more information on any of these awards, visit ashrae.org.
about what we have seen here and what we have done in Portugal at the moment. I would like to share with all what we have made for this year. We have scheduled 2 lectures for
and we can say on the final presentation.
Only a small remark. We have scheduled, and as Sophie had said earlier, it was important to have some coordination with the Euro CTCC to get the most from those lectures, and the chapters, if they want, they can use the incoming from one lecture for a chapter, Portuguese chapter for instance, to use him to do the lecture for another chapter, if interested. We are now talking with Ireland to do some coordination for one of our lectures.
Okay, maybe later we shall continue some discuss after this presentation or some questions, some experience. Or
yes, you can.
Yeah, our colleague gave me the idea just to announce that now we are not so many chapters in the region, and I think this is a very good frame to make better all the communication and the possibilities to, how to say, to engage our DLs from the list of the society on the best way. It means to spread the visit to the, particularly for the colleagues from United States, which are mainly, who are mainly on the DL list, to spread to the several chapters. It is very important, first of all, to communicate with you, dear colleague Hannah, you know, just to see, for example, I have received this information, but DL who is possible to visit maybe us, the topics are nearly the same as the seminar that we held in the previous year. It's a main problem, you know, for our chapter. For you it's quite good, okay, for this year, and maybe this coordination that we will be for next year, very important, just to have a look for the previous seminars, for example, the last 3 years. There is not so many events, to be honest, there is not so many events, but it's missing just information between the chairs, CCT chairs, or presidents, or president-elect, it doesn't matter, of our chapters. And I hope that on that way we can really use, for example, for 3 chapters, why not, when they come from United States or from others destination, just to allocate it on 2 weeks to organize these lectures. The another point I want to stress out now is when you take a look to the DL, to the list of DLs, you can find several from Europe. And we must do something to expand this list. Believe me, our mission in the chapters is not only to transfer knowledge and to engage DLs from the society. It's maybe a main activity, but we must consider Europe as and region 14 as the source of maybe new DLs. You know, comparing to the other regions, Europe has so many universities, so many good factories, and the people who has experience in various fields of HVAC. And we must know after this training or in next future, just to, how to say, attract new DLs from potential from Europe, from our chapters, territory, because it is our influence, you know, our chapter's territory, or to the another, maybe in Germany. We can recognize somebody on Austria or somewhere, but first of all in our neighbors, and how to attract possible DLs, and how to using finally our director of region and all of region officers to make them to put them on the list.
Yes, but the DLs must be recognized by the society.
Yes, okay, but there is the proposal, there is lobbying, there is everything.
Yeah.
Finally, change information.
Yeah. And we can choose the
and to attract somebody
allocated from region Europe or another region. We can choose the list. Andres?
Yeah, just a question, because I am supporting all what you have said. Because I think that it's important in this forum that we share topics that we have been used in our technical session in the last 3 years, so fully support you. And also, of course, I mean that it's important that we use, and that is a privilege to use DL knowledge and visit to organize this technical session. But at the same time, maybe we have not so many DLs in Europe, but we have people with a high knowledge in some specific field in the industry that, without being DL, can be rotated in the technical session around our 8 chapters.
I wholeheartedly support your.
Joy, can we use the
sure.
microphone?
Absolutely. Sorry. I absolutely encourage you to nominate anyone that you know that's doing excellent work presenting on technical topics from your region. I think it is critical that our DLS be much further expanded and not be limited to North American speakers. Right now you'll see that it's dominated by that, but that we are looking for DLs from all over the world, and it gives, I'm a distinguished lecturer, and I can tell you that it's really, really important for us to be sharing information. We need to be bringing European DLs to the US. We need to be able to have the US members to be able to go over to Europe, to Asia, to wherever it happens to be. But it's really an exchange of ideas and knowledge. And so I'm sure that you all know people who are exceptional speakers that are very good in their technical domain. Please put their names forward to become DLs. It is really a privilege also for the DLs to be able to travel. There is nothing like that opportunity. I feel extremely honored to be able to have that every time I go somewhere. It's amazing. And I would encourage, absolutely, if somebody calls and asks me to go to Asia or to Europe, I'm asking, all right, I don't want to go for a 1-hour presentation. That's a long ways to travel for 1 hour's worth of time. And so I would just soon visit multiple chapters if given the opportunity. That often requires that you help me in that coordination, because I don't know who to reach out to potentially, or who would be a good alternate chapter to potentially speak at. But I do think that we do need to maximize our use of our DLs and encourage many more DLs to come forward.
I would like just short ask if someone of us want to be distinguished lecturer, what it is procedure how to organize presentation, but if anyone want to be distinguished lecturer, what is the way for that?
You can explain better.
So you simply have to have someone put your name forward. It's a nomination process, and so there's, if you go to the DL website, through the ASHRAE website, you will find that it has the nomination, and it will require that you have a couple of other names that will verify that you are a good speaker, because that's one of the really important things. If we're having people travel around the globe, we would like that to be a successful event. But that's really the criteria, and then you need to put forward an abstract that describes the topics that you plan to speak on and what that content will be, because we try really hard to have a diverse group of content, so that's not everybody's speaking on airflow. Well, we'd be pretty bored, right? If our presentation was airflow.
So it's necessary to have some award to be distinguished lecturer?
Nope, you don't need an award. Nope, not at all. You simply need to have someone who's willing to put your name forward and speak on your behalf as your quality of presentation skill.
And to submit to the society.
It's Lugo first.
This was the same question, so it has been answered. Thank you.
One thing I think that's quite important, let me introduce myself, I'm Donald Finn from Dublin, Ireland, is here in Europe we've got 8 chapters. When we're trying to schedule the DLs, we've got various issues that we've got to contend with. First of all, we've got to try and maximize the, let's say, the effectiveness of the DLs. We've already said that, so we've got to decide on the issue of content. So how do we agree on what's the appropriate content, let's say, for 2018 or 2019? Secondly, you've got the issue of scheduling. And we saw there earlier, there was some comments about sometimes DLs coming at a particular time of the year may suit one chapter, doesn't suit the other chapter so well. So you've got this issue as well, choosing the time, and then if it's multiple visits, making sure that they can all be done, we say, in the space of 1 week. And then there's the allocation within the chapters, and there's coordination. And I guess the point I want to make from all of this is, as a new region with quite a few new chapters, is the mechanism of this coordinating and choreography is something that we need to try and optimize in some way. And there's a danger that we may not maximize our effectiveness if we don't schedule and choreograph in the most appropriate way. And at the moment there isn't really an obvious mechanism there apart from shooting emails and telephone calls to people, and I think it can possibly be a bit fragmented, and as a result we will lose the amount of DLs that we can possibly maximize on.
Sorry, it's first. Well, when I brought up this issue, we are talking now about coordination and to have European DLs, it was to make a proposal to the European board to make, with help of every other chapter, a list of distinguished lectures available in Europe and put to approval of the ASHRAE for instance, next year to have those lectures as we are talking about now. That depends on the task we are putting on Europe chapter to work this year.
But this year it's already allocated the schedule.
No, it's
we can
to create,
prepare
to
for
create the list, to create the lists for approval. And for next year we can say, now in Europe we have those distinguished lectures that we can use, or United States also can use.
But first, I think we can combine between us and change in accordance to the 2019. It's regarding the 2019. The ideal is to have a multi-chapter visit. It's ideal. I don't know if it is possible, 1 or 2 multi-chapter visits, and you can read between us first. The mainly interest is teams that each chapter can.
Sorry. I just want to say it's not that hard. I mean, we've done it with the Cyprus chapter, and we've done it with the Hellenic chapter. The last 4 visits, we've combined people flying over from Phoenix, Arizona, or Mr. Chandra from Asia, and they went to the Hellenic chapter in Athens, and then the day after they were presenting in Cyprus. So we are just 8 chapters, so it's 8 emails going around, making a doodle, and I don't think it's that hard.
I think we can do this between us but now we must regard the next year, not the 18, but the 19 year. And we have a year to define this and to exchange information. I think it's a suggestion.
Well, I think in reality it's challenging because we have to coordinate quite a number of things. First, we have to share topics. We have sometimes to share dates. Should we maybe agree to, let's say, coordinate the number of technical sessions on all chapter and coinciding in the same dates in order to get use of the DL walking around or traveling around? So it's not that easy, it's a lot of coordination. I know that you have a DL maybe in May, and well, we haven't scheduled a technical session for that exactly day or the day after or the day before. So, I mean, you have a hard work.
Each chapter must combine his technical sessions with the DL visit. It is not easy, but we need time to do that.
Exactly.
And if you start this year to regard the 19, I think it's easier. Because this year it's a typical year. It's
just 1 minute. We must be aware that we have 1 chapter in our region, it's the Danube chapter with 11 countries. It is somehow, to be honest, 5 of them, 6 are active, really in the chapter. And it is not the same as the other chapters which are established in a single country. And for us is also will be very useful to exchange, to share the potential, to share the plan for just to see that I or my next successor or somebody who will be in the Danube chapter to contact Romania, Serbia, Bulgaria, Hungary, Croatia, Slovakia, and Austria.
Other regional conferences and how to coordinate this, because DLs it takes time for every chapter, no matter how large or how small your region. And so what I might suggest is you potentially creating a calendar for your region in which you're listing when you are anticipating your meeting dates for this coming year. And as you know those dates, you can begin to look at what other chapters are having meetings around that same time. So if you're considering a DL, you'd be able to, so you could be looking at next year's calendar. It doesn't mean that it's locked in, it's just where you are currently anticipating that meeting, that you could then reach out to one another and say, it looks like you're having a meeting around the same time as we are in this particular month. Would there be the opportunity that you'd be interested in a DL on this particular topic, because that's what we're anticipating as an invite. And then that conversation and dialogue can begin, and it gives you a starting ground. At least the calendar will help in that effort, and then you can start with technical. Your other option is to go with the technical side of things and saying, next year we really want to have a DL on this particular topic. Is there anybody else interested in that topic? And then trying to coordinate calendars in that fashion. But there are, so Base Camp, I suspect you will have access to, which is a format that's available from ASHRAE that you can load files and share information electronically, and you could post a calendar for all the CTTC chairs to look at and do that coordination each year. DLs, the earlier you invite DLs, the more likely they're available. That's the other key to a DL schedule. And so that, I will tell you that usually as a DL, most of my invites are coming very heavily in the August-September timeframe. And so if there's somebody that you know you absolutely want, you should be asking sometimes a year out to say, can we get on your calendar by chance? Because at least for myself, I always go by who's invited me first and what my schedule will allow. And I very much appreciate the invite for next year. And I'm going to decline because I've been telling every chapter anywhere in the world I'm not doing DL lectures except for at CRCs during these 2 years because of my travel schedule as vice president. I have to work a full-time job in addition to this for a paycheck. So I can't do, I have to limit my travel for DL over this year and next. But after that, I'd be happy to entertain that. But just thinking about when to make those requests, the earlier you make them, the more likely your DL will be available.
I think it's better. We can start regarding the 19th and we can share the information between us, all of us, after this meeting. Why not? And we need time to choose the things. It's important and to combine not necessarily the same thing. We can propose 2 or 3 things, and then we can vote the preferences, and then choose the day out and to invite them for the next other year. If you have time, we can arrange this, I think. What do you think, John? Yeah? Okay.
We all listed our names and emails on the form. Can you send an email to all of us so we all know everyone? Yes,
I prepare to check all the emails and we are in contact. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's okay?
I do.
I do haven't seen it.
The proposal I make here for all, I think, it's to have schedule a month for each of us to tell, I would like to have this lecturer. And then he can make the coordination and tell, if there are common lectures, it will be easier. If not, it must be, how can I say it, accorded by all the persons to have 2 or 3 distinguished lectures. We must define 1 month to put those we want to hear, and then Europe makes the coordination.
Yes, the decision is not the RBC, it's the collective decision, not I approve or not the. For example, we can see the the visits confirmed, this year. not position because it's the number of the chapter. It's not any preference. Portugal this year has allocated Patricia Greff in 11 January and Kishore 24 May. Ireland have the visit of very son and probably visits also the Midland. No?
Sorry for interrupting you. Would it be possible to show that on the screen? I guess you've got an agenda there. Would it be possible to project it onto the large screen?
The other, yeah.
No, exactly what you are reading.
What you're reading.
Tens aí, Serafim, o que tens aí no ecrã que passa para ali.
Sorry, I don't.
Perhaps while we're waiting, could I just add one or two observations? It seems that if we're planning for 2019, the key challenge is not so much the scheduling of the dates, because we would probably finalise this, let's say, by July 18, so we've quite an amount of lead time. To me, the key challenge is deciding on the topics of common interest. Because if 2 or 3 chapters can say this topic A is of interest to 2 or 3 chapters, then you can, with one DL, have 3 different visits in 3 different chapters. So I think the key challenge is to find commonality. And once we have that, we can then in April, May, June of 18, we can get the DL to come, and then, you know, if it's in February 19 or March 19, it doesn't make too much difference because it's quite easy to change the schedule to fix that. So I think establishing the content is, to me, the most important.
And I think it's easier to get the DL to make a lecture for eight chapters than only for one. It's another strong we can add to our schedule.
Not necessarily a chapter, we can 2 or 3 chapters. It depends on.
No, it's what I had said, Sophie. I think it's more easier to get a lecture for 5 or 6 chapters than for only one.
Yeah. For example, this year we have Hellenic is the first one this year.
And the Cyprus as well.
Yeah. And it's happening in October. The next is Patricia, January 11, and then next is Ireland. In May it's Midlands, Richard Rowley. And it's better to see along the calendar. Okay, October, Patricia, January, Western in March, Rule in May, Kishore in May. Yeah, the 6 allocation.
The topics,
the topics are that one. Kishore is the airflow management for health facilities. Patricia is legionellosis. For Portugal it's important because they have many problems with that. It's not to discuss the concrete cases, is a general discussion about the risks and to provide to understand exactly the standard, the ASHA standard. This ASHA standard appears after 10 years of discussion. It's not easy to make a standard like that. Sorry.
If I may add, I believe that the key issue are the dates, because there's a great pool of DLs with not too many topics, and I think we can find a common ground on that matter. For instance, we have our annual conference during October or November. I don't remember the exact date, and I'm more than happy to share the date in case you want to host a meeting or a conference, a technical seminar or something. So I believe that planning ahead is the key here, and if we can manage to put dates on desired technical seminars, etc., would be easier to have a multi-chapter visit.
Will it be difficult now to share the topics of common interest among us?
No, because we are not deciding. We have to take it to our members and we get a vote and then...
But maybe we can commit it ourselves maybe to deliver those topics in the coming weeks to you, Serafin.
We could do that.
That is a starting point.
The great difficulty is to start, and then we can choose and change some topics.
But perhaps on the last observation, even if we do have to get confirmation from our committees and all the rest at a chapter level, maybe just for 5 minutes, it could be informally worth seeing if there's topics of common interest. I'm not sure what the interest is amongst you, but I can certainly very quickly throw out in Ireland, I know the whole issue of data centres is of a lot of interest. The issue of the pharmaceutical industry and the services within the pharmaceutical sector, process engineering is also of particular importance or of interest. And thirdly, I'd say the whole interest of what I vaguely call big data in the energy industry is of a lot of interest as well. And that's in addition to the more traditional ASHRAE topics like what we've seen here. So I'm not sure if that resonates with anyone else, but it's possible topics.
From Spain, I would say, well, data center, we share with you. Comfort, I mean, now all of a sudden this WELL certification is very much in fashion in Spain, particularly Madrid. There are very many buildings trying to get certificate with WELL. I think that in the UK we share with them. So WELL, comfort, all these related with this certification, and of course building performance improvement. That's a big topic, but anything related with that is of a particular interest in our chapter and among our members.
In our case, building performance is very important. Everything to do with simulation, optimization, multi-objective optimization. But also we chose, now for our next DL, we chose chaos and how chaos in construction is affected by different trades as attractors. So it is very wide range of interests that we have, and you know, I kind of can't really say these are the topics we are really interested, because we're interested in everything related to what we do.
It's the specialty of Richard Rowley.
Yes, and another thing, another way of dealing with DL visits is to organize something else on the same day. And combine it. For example, we had in May this year, our DL topic was BIM. So we organized around BIM, organized all major simulation tool companies to come and deliver talks about their tools and how that integrates with BIM. And we had 130 people attending that event, so it was really good. Now with next year, in May next year, we are combining this with student branch presentation. So DL is going to do a lecture for students on the same day, early in the day, and then for members. So combining a DL visit with something else actually brings more people in, because we can then advertise this to all of the UK membership rather than just our chapter membership. I think this is a good formula. But on choosing DLs, one of our limitations is that we cannot have more than one meeting per month, because members are busy, and it's very, very difficult to get them, let's say, to have a meeting this week and then to have a meeting another week, because they have day jobs as well. It's very difficult to get people in. So one of the critical issues in planning would be to actually have a program of meetings, to have a calendar of meetings, because we are meeting maybe 8 times a year. So if we have these set dates when we know our chapter is going to have a meeting, if we share this calendar between all other chapters that are in proximity, then that would be a good way of identifying opportunities for multi-chapter visits, because it can be much easier scheduled in that way.
One remark. The day of visit must be separated of other events. We can use the same day, okay, but the presentation of the day out, it's autonomous, because we must have the evaluation form, and we cannot mix it the day out with other seminars. So you see, you can use, for example, you can make at 2 p.m. for example for a DL, and then 7 p.m. or 5 p.m. the technical seminar. Not mix it. It's separated. It's important to regard this.
In our case, our technical seminar was a build-up towards DL lecture. So that was DL lecture was like a jewel in the crown of that meeting. So it was the last lecture. Well, it was the only lecture. Everything else.
Be careful with the separation.
Yeah.
Okay, I cannot say anything special, because our situation in Danube chapter, and finally we really try to do our best to engage some of during the spring, April, May, some of non-allocated DLs if it is possible, and to prepare for the next year due to new situation with the region, with some better communication and so on, and to inform. We have an annual meeting in beginning of April in Timișoara, it's in our headquarters, and we'll try to make better. At this moment, everything is open because of so many countries.
I think May it's probably the best month to do something about that. May, June, April probably, but it depends on which country. I think this thing
Serafin, just a short question. I don't know if it could be maybe one of the subject of this meeting, but I would like, apart from what we have discussed that is really interesting, but I would like to share, or to listen, more than to share, but to listen from the best practices you have in your respective chapter to attract people in order they attend your technical sessions or seminar, because we are facing quite challenging issue now because manufacturers are organizing quite a lot of events every month, and it's extremely difficult to find good excuses. Of course, the topic is a good, attractive point, yes, to let them come, but I don't know if you have good practices in your respective market and a good trick to attract people, because they are busy, as you said as well. Hmm?
It's not easy to attract people.
Well, the DLs is a good practice to attract people. The DLs is a good way to attract people. For example, the DLs, the DL program.
The DLs.
Yes. Moreover,
it depends. It depends, because I think, for example, this thing, the healthcare facilities, it's a very important topic for all. You can, it's a general topic, evidently, but you can share opinions about this.
Another thing I wanted to say is that you can make it a constitution. For example, in our annual course, we have a conference that we do it every time, late October or early November. It's a constitution that Astra Hellenic chapter does this conference, and it attracts many people. We bring many professors from Greece and from everywhere, and we have an attendance of 300 to 400 people. We have, for instance, this year we had 4 or 5 parallel sessions, and it attracts people.
I have seen your brochure, November next year, so I was really impressed with a year time to such a good preparation. Huh? So congratulations.
Yes, we try to have. We have already scheduled this annual conference. That's what I told before. That if anyone is interested, we can find common ground for the DL topics, etc. Because we will all most certainly want DLs in our annual conference.
I think it's important, probably independent of the DL information between us, to distribute or to announce the technical seminars of each chapter between us. It's probably important to add, shows the best thing to choose the thing. It's a suggestion. It's not the focus of this room, but we can provide this. Our president can say some words.
Oh. Good morning. I'm Sheila Hayter, the Ashford President-elect, and thank you all for being here for this, not only for the CRC, but making the effort to come to this training session so that you can share, well, learn some tricks of the trade, as they say, of how to lead this effort in your chapters, but also to learn from each other with the questions that you have and ideas that you may have in order to answer those questions, and those of you who have been part of chapters for a while, to be able to share things that work in your chapters for those that are with new chapters. So I appreciate all of you participating in this. And CTTC is really, it's one of the closest connections to the chapters. I see up here some distinguished lecturers that are listed on the, I guess that have visited your chapter. No, these are people that have visited your chapters, I guess, because Pat Grave is not. Yeah. So the DL program is an amazing program that is facilitated by CTTC at the society level, but it's this group at the chapter level that helps to bring those speakers to your chapters. We find that usually those DL presentations draw a lot of people to the chapter meetings, so you have a high level of participation, which offers opportunities to recruit new people for other jobs in the chapters, to help maybe encourage people to become members of ASHRAE and help expand your group, which just then leads to a growing network and more opportunities. So the job you do is very important. I'm glad that you all are willing to take on that responsibility, and I hope you feel like you're learning good things today on how to do that job successfully. So thank you for being here.
I can remember the conference that you have in Lisbon. The participants maintains all the program since the beginning, just the hand. And she noticed that it's important to maintain the participants all attention to all the presentation. You remember that? It's about 150 or 180 probably.
Yeah, it was a large group of people.
It's a large group,
it was very, and you had there was also you had a trade publication, because I was interviewed beforehand, and then I think you sent me the article.
Yeah.
But it was all written in Portuguese, so
Portuguese,
someday you need to
an
translate it for me.
Of a Portuguese article. Yeah. Because we have the experience, and we are not obliged to invite only the members, ASHRAE members. We can enlarge the invitation for other members. It's very important, is to promote to join other engineers, be members of ASHRAE. I don't know if the workshops or technical sessions are paid or not. It depends, but we can organize free meetings with a register, but without pay. And it's very important. In this case, we have a large for all engineers to be present, and it's interesting. I don't know your experience in your cases. For example, you invite only the ASHRAE members or not? In C, you
no, we invite all, and yep, I mean it's open. But of course, I mean that is something that you first go to the chapter member. Huh?
But I think it's very important to enlarge the participants. ASHRAE is not only for the members, it's for the society.
For the future members as well.
Yes, for the future. Okay, we're almost in the time. What can I say more? We have discussed to make a tentative to have an ADL visit, a multi-chapter visit. It's very important for all of us. It's very difficult probably to combine this for all the chapters, but while regarding the 2019, not this year, it's already allocated.
Yeah.
We will exchange experience and by mail, and we achieve certainly a good result, I hope. It's a good thing.
Yeah, can I make just one short comment? No, I'm speaking from being a distinguished lecturer myself. When I'm invited to visit a chapter, I really appreciate an opportunity to do more than just the chapter meeting. So meet with a group of students, maybe if there's another chapter kind of nearby, like when I visited your chapter, I had also visited the Hellenic chapter on that same trip. So the time it takes to Europe, it takes me, it's a big trip for me. It's not something I can do in a day and go home. And so being able to visit a couple of different chapters, and then during those visits have some opportunities to interact with members or potential members in other ways, I find that very helpful. So if you do invite a DL speaker, remember that they can do more than just give a presentation. If you need a DL speaker to go talk with maybe employers to help convince them why it's important to support their staff to be involved in ASHRAE, that's something you might be able to do. I already mentioned students. That's always, from a DL, that's always a very fun thing to do because the students are excited and they have lots of good questions, and being able to interact with them. Other groups like the Young Engineers in ASHRAE, helping to maybe create an event to bring them together so that they can form their own network and feel that they have their own community within the ASHRAE chapter, and if a DL is one way to help bring them together. So lots of different things you could do, but just be creative and think about how else having that person visiting your chapter can help your chapter achieve other things. And it's okay to invite them to do that. And DLs will let you know if they're comfortable doing that or not. But invite them, because most of the time they will say, yes, I'll help you with whatever you need. Keep that in mind.
And I think you can invite also the sponsors of the chapters and all the companies in each market. It's important that the companies knows what is ASHRAE, because they have engineers employed, and I think it's important to communicate with them. Okay?
Can I just ask a practical question? So, in terms of costs and who pays what, if we, let's say, if we invite a DL from the States and we are in the UK, then do we pay the flight from the US? Just what is the kind
yes,
of,
the flight is supported by the society.
Okay.
But the local costs, local transportation, meals, hotels, begins to which will be supported to each chapter.
Okay, I understand.
If you have an unallocated, it's different. You can invite a DL, but you must pay also the flight.
Could I follow up on that? If there is a visit to multiple chapters in the Europe region, so let's say someone comes from the US, they come to Dublin first, and then they go to Birmingham, and let's say they then go to Spain and Portugal. So within Europe there will be 4 internal flights. So the question is, are the internal flights supported, or is it just the transportation from the US to Europe?
The internal flights must be supported, I think, by the society, but the society must confirm this flight.
So yeah, so the society level, through the CTTC's budget at the society level, they pay for the speaker to get to wherever they've been invited to be. So yes, the internal transportation once on the continent would be covered by the society. The chapters are responsible only when that person is in their city where the chapter is located. I find when I travel internationally for my DL that the chapters are willing to pay different levels of things, but I'm very sensitive to the fact that if I'm there to give a presentation and talk to students or something, and those 2 things are happening in 1 or 2 days, depending on what's reasonable, 1 or 2 nights in a hotel, you know, a day or 2 of meals and that sort of thing, that's what I expect. If I'm there longer because I want to visit Lisbon and I've never been to Portugal and I want to see what it's like, you know, after that, then, you know, that's my time and you don't have to cover that. So it's okay to tell the DL, we want you to come, we'll pay for, you know, 2 nights or 3 nights or whatever is reasonable, Or if you want to pay for a week, that's great too, but don't feel like you have to, is what I'm saying.
There are the private visits, it's not allocated by the chapter necessary or by the society. Okay, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting, our change of opinions, and I hope to continue with this friendship, interesting friendship, and I think we have a good team in the region. Thank you.
Dear friends, dear colleagues, thank you once again, dear Mr. Gana.
Call me Serafin, it's better, it's the first name.
Sorry, Mr. Serafin, for coming here in behalf of organizing committee or our CRC. I hope that everything will going better and better up to the tomorrow, the end of our conference. Feel free to and enjoy this I think not so hard work. We started with the business meeting yesterday by our director of region, but I hope it's going. Thank you once again for coming in Belgrade and in Serbia.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Ispadnu pudlici